What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in once again to another episode. Again, sporting news for the week. I think it feels like we've done a lot since I've recorded this episode. We obviously did the live stream of the trade deadline. I gave that a good right go. Look, the stream was terrible, I'll be honest. The sort of recording edits and stuff. I tried to do it through Riverside. And it didn't help that it was obviously 4 a.m. in the morning. So about 2 people listened and tuned in. To those 2 people, one was including TJ. Thank you for jumping on. And I did hope you enjoyed the content. Obviously, I put it out on Spotify as well, which it looked a lot better there. But definitely am interested to do more sort of live streams in the future. So if you did enjoy that content, please do let me know. And I'll hope to sort of set it up in a bit of a better way. I've had a look into some sort of live streaming services and sites and apps that I could use. I gave Riverside a go, thinking that it would be okay because you were able to stream onto multiple platforms. But unfortunately, I don't think it was as good as I thought. So yeah, I'll look to move it onto someone like Streamlabs or something like that, and maybe have it on the one platform. I'm tossing between Kick and Twitch if I'm going to do it, because Kick's up and coming, and I feel as though that a lower sort of demand is probably better, but I'm tossing and turning between the two. So yeah, maybe there's an opportunity for some live stuff to do at this point. I'm not too sure, but if you did like it, let me know. And I actually, so bad to say, but I was on there for an hour. There wasn't really much going on. The Giannis trade didn't happen. So I ended up falling asleep, and I thought I'd come back for the next half an hour to sort of close off the deadline, but it didn't happen. But while that did happen, we did get a trade, and I'm going to talk about it today on this podcast and start with that. But before I do, again, subscribe wherever you do get your podcast, leave a comment, leave a review of what you'd like to see. Again, super keen for what you guys want to do. I'm keen as well. And also, as you can tell, I've sort of flipped up my table. So before I was sort of facing the door. Now I feel like this angle's a lot better. It gives me a lot more space to work through stuff behind me. I can't give you the room tour, but essentially, like, this is how I'm going to be setting up from now on. And I think I find it a lot better and a lot cleaner here. And, there's much more space to work with. So, that's why there's a door behind me. But anyway, going back to the trade. So we had Zubac getting traded to the Indiana Pacers in exchange for Ben Mathurin and a few other stuff, but the one that I'm looking more for, I think Isaiah Jackson was in the trade as well. The thing that is more interesting is a 2026 first round pick, which I'll explain the conditions, and another future first round as well. So 2 first rounds for Zubac, and Indiana Pacers lock in a center for the future. They're obviously looking to compete. They're trying to get Tyrese back, and they're probably trying to run it back in the East that, if they feel that as though it's open, this season hasn't been the season for them. Goes to show how important Tyrese Halliburton was to this team, but it also didn't help the fact that they were picking up injuries along the way, and we have to consider that too for this Indiana Pacers team. But now they've got essentially a big 3 with Zubac, Siakam, and Halliburton. And the reason why I would say Zubac is the third of the big 3 is because, if he's in the East, I think he makes a case for an all-star based on his stats. So why not consider him as a third piece? And then you've got unbelievable wing defenders in Naismith and Andrew Nembhard to join that core. And I think that core starting 5 is really strong in the East. Now, going back to the protections, the first round pick is 1 to 4, and I believe 9 to 30 protected. So essentially, what the Indiana Pacers have done is they have locked up the opportunity to get a top 4 player. As we know, and as we've mentioned, Peterson, Boozer, the Bandster, and a few others are leading the draft. You've got 3 of the 4 beast players leading the draft. This draft class is stacked, but that front 3 is stacked even more. So Pacers are banking on the fact that they can either get a stacked pick, tank for the rest of the season, or make a late play-in push to get themselves out of that sort of 5 to 9 range, if that makes sense. Because if the pick falls between there, the Clippers will take it. And then I think in a couple of years, it does remain unprotected. But I think the Clippers made a really good piece of business here because the fact of the matter is they're not getting a first-round pick with the Oklahoma City Thunder trade. So that will indicate that if the Indiana Pacers fall out of that top 4 and don't fall into past 9th, then the Clippers have got a really strong pick, and that sets up their future. They've got contracts in Mathurin. They've got a swing on Isaiah Jackson. They've already got Darius Garland in the Harden trade. So I think that this is actually a really good comeback sort of trade for the Clippers. They also get another first-round pick in the future. And I also think it works for Indiana because I think this is generally a gap year for them. I think that's how they're treating it, and that's how it is. And if they get Halliburton healthy, anywhere near how he was, before, then we're looking at a team that can really compete in the Eastern Conference. And Zubac, although he doesn't stretch the floor like Miles Turner did, this bloke is an unbelievable pick and roll player. And to get one of the best sort of playmakers in the league in your team, I'm sure that they're going to work it out really well. And Zubac has a chance to compete. And he could be an all-star, he's in the East now. It's in the East. So, I'm a big fan of that trade. And it's a very interesting one. This season, in 2026, there are a lot of first-round picks getting traded to other teams. We know about the Atlanta one. The Wizards, if they fall out of the top 8. You've got OKC's picks from Utah and from the Clippers. I think Utah's one is protected, but just keep in mind for that. And a few other extra bits and pieces as well. And now this. So, the trades have been good. Again, Giannis did not get traded. It felt as though he wasn't going to. I sort of thought he would, but I think it's going to be best suited for when Milwaukee go into the offseason. They can sort of reevaluate where they're at, whether they can have enough picks to grab another star, go one more go, or, another team picks up and accumulates more assets for Giannis to leave somewhere where he actually wants to play. So, I think it works out. But yeah, that pretty much sort of wraps the NBA up. We're getting close to All-Star break, and it just got announced that Brandon Ingram is going to be replacing Steph Curry in the All-Star game. So that's 2 Raptors in the team. That's interesting because, one, you thought that the West would be replaced, but turns out no, they're getting an East player. And I think the main reason because of that is a lot of those West players that are up for All-Star are international players. Lauri Markkanen, Domantas Sabonis, Alperen Şengün. None of them can represent the United States. So the next best available was from the Eastern Conference, and that was Brandon Ingram, which is a surprise. I would have personally, and call me crazy, I would have given it to someone like Keontae George, like someone on the West. Like, you have to give it to someone in the West. You can't just have an extra East player. Like, the East is not that strong compared to the West. And now you're telling me there's more Eastern All-Stars than the West? Anyways, I guess that's sort of how the cookie crumbles. And maybe, is Keontae George even American? I think he is, but I have to verify that. But I think Brandon Ingram, all in all, seems to be the correct decision. The Raptors are doing well, and now they have 2 All-Stars to represent the USA. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's sort of the latest news coming out there. I'm really keen for All-Star break and kind of to see where we're at when it comes to NBA. So look out for something in the future there as well. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it. The Super Bowl just concluded. I'm sitting here sounding exciting for it, but let's be honest, it was a real shit show. It was one of the most boringest Super Bowls ever. Sorry to say. The fourth quarter was great, but that's when shit started opening up. And the Seattle Seahawks are your Super Bowl champions for this year. They defeat the Patriots 13-29 as I look at the scoreboard up there, just to be sure. MVP went to Kenneth Walker III, 135 rushing or yards in total, a few receiving yards there. Cooper Kupp put in with 61, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, best wide receiver, offensive player of the year, didn't do much. I think generally he got concussed mid-game, and I'm sure he just wanted to play it out. But, if you had bets on JSN, you would have lost because he actually hit nothing. No touchdowns, didn't get the yards, and, didn't matter in the end because the Seattle defense was unbelievable. Oh, my God. They did not give any room for Drake May, but I think that was an all-time worst quarterback Super Bowl performance I've ever seen. You can blame the O-line. The O-line has been shit all year, but just the way that Drake May was performing, he looked too scared. He couldn't get out of the pocket. There was opportunities for him to rush. He didn't. And there was a key opportunity where it was actually a 2-possession game. I think it was like 15-22 at this point, or like 9-22 at this point. And you thought, one more touchdown here and they've got a chance. They get a 1st and 10 and Drake May just heaves it straight interception in the 4th quarter. And you're thinking, why would you do that? Why was that necessary? It was not necessary. And it's frustrating because you really want to see a very close game. But at the end of the day, the Seahawks were the better team all year. But let me tell you, what a weird season. The fact that we're getting the Seahawks and the Patriots to headline the Super Bowl, like I said, it feels like we're back in 2013 because no one would have expected it. No Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes, no Josh Allen, no defending champs in the Philly Eagles. The Rams got close, but they didn't get there. The Lions weren't there. The Commanders weren't there. It's kind of wild, to be honest. And this is the first time where I'll say I don't know if these two teams will be back next year, because let me tell you, I'm sure that those AFC teams, the Ravens, got to come back. The Bills have got to come back. I don't know about the Kansas City Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes, but definitely those two got to come back. The Commanders, if they get healthy, they should be back up there as well for the NFC, and so is the Lions. So, what the hell? What the hell? Seahawks, they'll take it all day. They were by far the best team all season. Number 1 seed in the NFC. Very dominant. Jackson Smith and Jigba, unbelievable. Their defense, unbelievable. How good's Weatherspoon? Unbelievable player. Lots of sacks coming in. I think it was a quarterback record, Super Bowl record in sacks to a quarterback. It was insane. And, it looked better than what it did for Drake May's stats. 295 yards, 2 touchdowns. But I think towards the end, the defense pretty much gave up. And, I think I'll give credit to Gonzalez. He locked up Jackson Smith pretty well. But, it wasn't good enough. And I just don't think that the Patriots looked ready or even close to winning the Super Bowl, even going in there. Their run was really easy. They didn't verse a Bo Nix-led Broncos team. So, and even before that, they had the chances, but I don't know. I don't know if the Patriots, man, I feel like they definitely won't be back next year. But I'm really excited because I feel like NFL is going to be more open next year, but we're not going to be knowing that until bloody September. That's going to be a while away. And you know what? What's exciting though, and I almost forgot to mention, is we have the confirmed game in Melbourne. San Francisco 49ers take on the LA Rams. What a game. What a game to go and watch. I cannot wait to go to the MCG, the best stadium, as I said. Lots of discussion on TikTok for that one. To see NFL and see how it looks. 100,000 seats. They reckon first game of the season. I don't know. The schedule hasn't been announced, but I will certainly be getting my hands on a ticket to be going to watch that because that's going to be super, super, super exciting. And honestly, I can't wait to see it because I think, Super Bowl not Super Bowl, football in Melbourne, it's a big popular sport. It's not talked about enough because we've got AFL, but, it is popular here. And I think it gives a big opportunity to grow the game and have that. And hopefully it can be for the long term. I feel like we deserve a game at least once a year. I'm not asking for 45 games a year. I'm asking for one NFL game a year that will excite me. Regular season, no preseason bullshit, just straight into it. So, congratulations again to the Seattle Seahawks, Kenneth Walker III, your Super Bowl MVP. Sam Darnold, good on ya. Unbelievable. He didn't have a crazy game. But let me tell you, the Vikings will be kicking themselves in the teeth because of that. They should not have got rid of him. And I've said that for a while, and you've just proven it now. Now, all the playoff sort of talk about him goes out the window. Last season, obviously didn't prove it. This season, he's got a ring. And you know what? I'm proud of him. That's happy. That makes me happy. And, the Seahawks, Super Bowl champions, and maybe they'll go back at it next year. They'll keep their core. Jackson Smith and Jigba still there. And shout out to my boy Rashid Shaheed. I almost forgot. Rashid Shaheed is a Super Bowl winner. Got traded from the Saints mid-season. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him because I've always loved Shaheed, and I think that guy's got wheels. So the fact that he was able to utilize that on the big stage, that's awesome too. So, I'm happy with the result. I'm not a big fan of the Patriots. Obviously, it goes back to the fact that I don't really like teams that have been successful for a long time. And obviously, the Patriots are one of them. So, yeah, your Super Bowl champions are the Seattle Seahawks. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do enjoy
episodes like this, or this episode specifically, be sure to leave a comment and a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcasts. It'd be also great if you could like and subscribe wherever you do get your podcasts, so we can continue to show this out to people that see sports exactly the way that you do. But without further ado, let's get straight back into it.
So back with some WWE updates. They have already revealed the main event of WrestleMania, CM Punk taking on Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. Will that be night 2? Will that be night 1? I don't know, but it is going to be the main event. So CM Punk will once again main event WrestleMania. I'm sure he'll be super happy about that. And, there's some rumblings and news, or it's been confirmed that Bron Breakker is going to be out indefinitely with a surgery. I think it's a hernia surgery. So apparently this happened last week, but I'm led to believe that this actually happened a long time ago, and that's why Bron Breakker got eliminated from the Royal Rumble early. He was supposed to be the locked-on winner, apparently. I don't know if that's true, but it kind of makes sense why they pivoted towards the safe option in Roman Reigns, if that is true and if that is the case. Because, Bron Breakker was breaking out, no pun intended. He looked to be a star. He still is going to be a star, but he's not going to be able to have a big WrestleMania moment. So he's going to be injured. We don't know when he's back. I'm going to assume SummerSlam is when he makes his return. And now we'll have to see what happens with the Vision. Who's going to take over? Based on the last episode of Raw, looks like Bronson Reed's going to lead the helm. So how will they get involved? We have LA Knight going to the Elimination Chamber alongside Randy Orton so far. This week we've got Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, and Sami Zayn going for the title as well at Elimination Chamber, going for the number 1 contendership. So we don't know who's going to be involved there. But what I will say is that I think the way it's looking is that LA Knight is going to get screwed over by the Vision, and then we might have a Bronson Reed LA Knight WrestleMania moment. I don't know, but Bronson Reed's leading the helm. There's still beef between Alex Pierce and the others. So we'll have to see what happens on that side. As for SmackDown, Drew McIntyre is waiting for who's going to win the championship, and then CM Punk is taking on Finn Balor at Elimination Chamber. We obviously know that CM Punk's going to win because they're not going to jeopardize the main event. But obviously we have that match too. AJ Lee also taking on Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental title. I generally thought that would be a WrestleMania match, but turns out it might not be. So that's very interesting there. So, look out for the road to WrestleMania. If you're not watching WWE, now is the time, because this is where the road to WrestleMania begins. This is where everyone starts getting back into WWE. Like I said, it's amazing. For me, amazing. Just the storylines, the script, the action. It's not fake in the sense that the moves, it's obviously the outcome is preconceived. I always say this, but at the end of the day, man, the storyline, the build up, the hype, the fan connection is just so important. And it just brings out something that a lot of other sports and entertainment don't. It's like a men's reality show, can't go wrong with it. So continuing to watch that, really excited for WrestleMania, and, we'll see where that takes us. And then we're going to move on to what's happening at the moment. And look, I have never followed these sports religiously, but it is the Winter Olympic Games. It's in Milan, and, it's been 5 days of it. And I've been watching a few highlights here and there. And let me tell you, some of these sports in the Winter Games are simply incredible. I don't know how people do this, like the ski runs. Some people going down like 128 kilometers per hour. You've got the ice ring skating. I think Jake Paul misses 1 gold in like the long distance speed skating. You've got like this thing, I forgot what it's called, like lube or something, looped or something. I don't even know what it's called. Lube is very incorrect and inappropriate. But basically, they go backwards behind their head and they go through a tunnel. It's incredible. They do it front and backwards. That's simply amazing. You've got like the snowboard freestyle moves, the skiing freestyle moves. I don't know what this is called. They've also got this one called like baton or something. I have no idea what the sport's called, but basically you shoot a gun and you hit the targets like 5 times and you do like a ski marathon. Like these sports are cool, man. Like get on it. It's on Stan if you have Stan. Get on the Winter Olympics. Like curling is my favorite though. I love curling. The broom, just getting the broom correctly. And congratulations, I think, to, who was it? I think it was Norway that won the gold medal against the United States. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be really wrong there. But the United States got into the rowing finals. So correct me if I'm wrong to see who won the gold medal curling. It was Sweden. Sweden won the gold medal. Australia haven't won any medals. That's sad. We thought that snowboarding would be the case, but in a country where we're sort of famous for hot weather, sort of makes sense. But at the moment, Norway is leading the gold medal tally with 6, 2 silvers and 4 bronze. They're cleaning up with 12 in total. Switzerland are doing really well on the skiing, but it is sort of, Scandinavian sport. I would say a lot of Scandinavian teams are pretty much up there competing. So it is the Winter Games. I'm trying to follow it. Look, I don't know the sports too well, but I can respect the art of sport. And especially these sports, like, they're very hard to train for and they look really hard to do. And they're also scary too, especially winter. Like, one accident and you can get a serious injury. So credit and respect to anyone that's participating in the Winter Games, anyone that is participating in any Olympics. But it's a world stage. It's awesome, and I'm keen to sort of see it and give updates when I can. Currently, Norway is leading the medal tally, so we'll do a sort of a quick recap update every sort of week, and this will segment me to the final sort of segment. And speaking of sort of the world stage and world games, the World Cup is coming soon. And I don't know if you've seen my latest video on TikTok and stuff, trying to get content up. I've got my little booklet here. Zuru ballers. Out in Kmart, out in Big W. I don't support, them at all. I just really love collecting them. I've done a bit of basketball ones, I'll be honest, but I haven't documented it. And then yesterday I decided that I wanted to document my pool. Before I got Florian Wirtz, but I didn't record it. So I thought I'd document my 3 pools, and that's had the most sort of views on my channel, more than whatever I've done on my podcast. So we're doing a little series. I'm going to obviously show you my little collection now. All these guys are to collect. I've pulled 2 rares, and I'm looking to get, as you can see on the video here, these are, let me get the angle correct. These are the Messi and Mbappe super rare World Cup winners collection. Now, normally the hack is to hold the ball and shake it to know that, it's rare and whatnot, but I'm not going to do that. It defeats the purpose, and quite frankly, it will make it search forever. So whatever ball I grab without measuring and everything is the ball I'm going to take. And, I can't do them daily because I don't have the funds to be able to spend $14 every single day opening them, but maybe every 2-3 days, I will open one ball in hopes that I can get a Messi or an Mbappe, or maybe both. We'll see. But, look out for those videos if you do enjoy them. They're pretty awesome. Like, I've loved collecting stuff like this. And, Zuru Ballers have done an awesome job in getting this out before the World Cup too. And you know what? For $14, it's pretty decent value. You get a player, you get a little card, you get a football, and, it adds to a collection. And the players look pretty cool. And there's 42 to collect. So worst case, if I don't get these 2 rares, which are 1 in 90, by the way, I'm building my own club at the moment, my starting 11. And, it wouldn't hurt to have 42 of these and just have it to the collection. And then who knows, maybe I'll grow my NBA one again. But yeah, at the moment, World Cup season's coming along nicely, and I'm collecting World Cup balls, just to get myself keen and primed for essentially that series as well. And, maybe one day they'll do wrestling. Wrestling would be cool. There's so many sports they can do. They've done basketball, obviously, but I wouldn't mind a bit of wrestling. How cool would that be? Bit of WWE collection, get an ultra rare, acknowledge me, Roman Reigns, a John Cena 17-time championship with him for the belt. Man, I should call up Zuru Ballers right now and get him to start doing WWE. But, that's awesome. Keen to sort of get that series over and underway. And that pretty much wraps up sort of all the sporting news at the moment. I've got some good news. The guests that I've got lined up, I can't say anything. The interview's happening tonight. So I will release it once it's done, sometime either this or next week. And we finally get a guest to come onto the show and talk things. We'll keep it there. I'll give you a clue. It's an athlete, somewhat of an athlete. I can't give too much. Not professional. I mean, he is professional, but for what he is, I don't know. That's all I want to give right now. But again, thank you very much for tuning into this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. If you do like this episode, again, be sure to subscribe wherever you do listen to your podcasts. And once again, be sure to leave a 5-star review if you've just jumped in for the first time. If you do like what we're talking about, and comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments. And, we'll continue to bring out stuff that you enjoy. That's what we're trying to do here on the Huddle Within. So thank you very much, guys. And I'll catch you guys next week. Cheers. So that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. I appreciate you for tuning in and being part of this community where we go beyond the game and into what really matters. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who sees sports just the way that we do. And hey, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on my social medias, which will be linked below. Send in your thoughts and even be part of a future episode. Until next time, keep that passion alive, stay in the huddle, and remember, it's always deeper than the game. Cheers.